One of the things that I would like to highlight is matching the state and country field. So we decided to enable picklist because by default, when it comes to country and state, it would be a text field. So it would be a bit messy. So having a picklist would most likely solve that issue. So in order to do that, what we did is that when we went into the settings, there's a few steps for that. Go into here, and then we look for country. There's a state and country territory pick list, and there's actually a few steps here. So if you want to convert it, they basically ask you like to configure, scan, and then convert the data. So if you scan it, essentially, if I click this, they're going to scan the data and let you know what you currently have in the system. So we already cleaned it up, so I don't think anything is going to show up. But if it's not cleaned up or if it's still in text field, then essentially what you would see is, for example, you'll see a list of the different inputs that have been entered into that text field. So there's some inconsistency or there's many variations. For example, the country, United States, right? Some people write USA, some people write United States, some people write U.S.A. So on and so forth. Same thing with the state, right? Some state people, if it's Idaho, they would write the whole thing or ID, or if they do a typo on the or ID dot or I dot D. So all these variations made it not ideal. The long part for here is to convert the identified data. Like I mentioned, like all the different variations, then you would need to essentially select the right one. So if it's USA, then you have to select US. I think the longest part was the state, because the state, some people they put like nil, invalid, so on and so forth. The challenging part was I had to go through each object, like each one of these, and do a filter and say, okay, if the state is nil, then I had to, because unfortunately this part, it doesn't tell you which, it tells you the count as to how many of those have that value, but it doesn't tell you which object it is in, which is the annoying part. But essentially you have to go into each object and then do a filter and find those and then change them manually from there. So once we got that done, it was good. But just recently, actually yesterday or this morning, they said they basically want to have their state in abbreviation, so like just two letters. Because once you do the pick list configuration or the switch to a pick list, then automatically it changes to the full name of the state.
They want to change all the state values to the abbreviations.
Yeah. So I did that. If I go to United States, all right. Yeah. So initially it was all written like the full state name, like Alaska, Alabama, so on and so forth. So I changed it by clicking edit and then just change the name.